Hello once again, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, it is I, 2Athamar7, about to begin my third video in my replay of A Sky Full of Stars. In the first two videos, we watched Akito as he was living his daily life, no longer really interested in astronomy, but still in the astronomy club. And at the end, becoming reunited with his childhood friend Hickory. And then in the second video, we kind of saw, for the most part, a huge flashback where he went into the past just to relive how he met Hickory as well as his friend Saya, and everything that went on. In fact, we're still continuing a little bit of that here. We went through a good portion of the story. I think at this point now the kids are all fairly familiar with one another, and that's where we're going to start off. So here we go. It was the beginning of the week, Monday. I went to school the same way I always do. I headed to the classroom the same way I always do, but this time, for some reason, I stopped right before the room. How was it before? Recently, Hickory and I have been doing nothing but star talk every day. Before that, I don't really want to remember. I was blunt and treated all of the students like enemies. So how would I enter the class now?
昨日のテレビ見た？見た。すんごい笑っちゃった。次の日曜さ、集まってみんなでやろうよ。あれ。おー、いいね。
They really are loud. I could hear the entire conversation outside the classroom. But the voice seemed a little farther than usual. I mean, obviously she's on the other side of the door, but... Oh, hi-oh! I entered the classroom the same way I always do, giving a curt greeting to everyone. My classmates' reaction was not as cold as it had been before. Since the Stargazers meetup, even I felt like that I had been accepted as a member of the class. Speaking of Takeichi and his friends, his attitude was just as bad as ever, but since that winter swim, it didn't seem like he wanted much to do with me.
Ohayo, Akito!
Ohio! I gave her a quick greeting, then headed to my seat. Since there was no more event to prepare for, I didn't want to bother her by being too familiar. As I took my seat, my eyes met with Saya, who was seated by the window. Ohio! That girl was so shy that even a trivial greeting made her blush and look away. I thought that we had gotten to know each other, but I guess I was wrong. I sat in my seat. I didn't have anything to do, so I pulled out a book. It was a book I had planned on returning to the library today, a book on stars. But it was so difficult to understand that I couldn't even read it. Hickory? Hickory peeked over the book that I was reading and grinned. Excuse me? Hickory said in a somewhat worried voice. Was she talking about stargazing? Of course not. I certainly had intended to look at more stars, especially since I had the telescope. Hickory sounded relieved as he turned to the other students. The sudden proposition caused a bit of a commotion in the class. They didn't seem to take to it so well. Even as Hickory called out to everyone, they only replied with disinterested expressions. Right before my eyes, Hickory's bubbly expression deflated. I had hoped for just an instant that something might happen, but it looked like it was really over. Well, that's just how it was. I didn't have any big expectations anyway. Saya, seated in the corner, raised her hand.
私もま せてもらっていい？
The withered hickory's expression brightened immediately.
天の川さん、いいよ、いいに決まってんじゃんね、アキト。
Hi, of course. I said in agreement, my face flustered.
おいでおいで、天の川さん。ほら、こっち。
Saya stood and timidly made her way over to my seat.
また綺麗な星見たいから。
She said, looking like a deer in the headlights. She was so cute.
3人でさ、クラブを作ろうよ。クラブ？天体観測クラブ。
Hickory looked proud of her good idea. Saya and I looked up instinctively, locked eyes.
面白そう。
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, I said, hiding my intense elation by answering in a rather unconcerned voice.
それはいいアイデアね。先生。
At some point, the teacher had gotten up and come over to us.
そんなあなたたちにこれをあげるわ。
The teacher placed a book on my desk. Wow, look, a beginner's guide to astronomy.
先生があなたたちくらいの頃に使っていた本なんだけど。へえ、それって何年くらい前？
Sensei's expression became cross for just an instant from Hickory's simple-minded question. But she quickly returned to her soft smile. Grown-ups really were amazing.
そんなものは宇宙の歴史に比べたら瞬きの一瞬よ。それとあの3曲と課題はずっと使ってていいわ。
Are you sure? I had actually been worried about that. I couldn't look at the stars without the tripod and stand.
ええ、冬の川で泳ぐようなバカな真似を今後二度としないならね。
Sumimasen.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
The teacher chuckled a bit when she'd seen that even Saya had been dragged into apologizing. Arigato, sensei.
大事に使ってね。
After saying that, the teacher moved away from my seat.
早乙女先生って優しくて綺麗で素敵ね。でしょ？私たちの自慢の先生だもん。でもってアキトの好きな人なんだよ。知ってた？
Don't be stupid. Why would you ever think something like that?
ああ、赤くなってる。私見たもんね。こないだの観測会の時もそうやって赤くなってたの。そうなんだ。
I told you that's not true.
ほら、チャイム鳴ったわよ。自分の席へ戻りなさい。はーい。
And that was how the Mikuzaki Astronomy Club had started. It wasn't an official club or anything, but I preferred it that way. We just used the title of club to hang out together and look at the stars. It was like adventuring around the Milky Way every day. With our innocent minds, we were hungry to learn as much as we could. We pointed our telescope to the edges of the night sky, to the edges of the cosmos. We gazed at clusters of countless stars and dreamed of places far, far from here. And now we're back to present day. This girl really irks me, though. Even when we were younger, she always acted without thinking. I'm not really interested in being involved with someone so reckless.
へえ、いいじゃない。運命の再会って感じでさ。あ、もしかして前に昔いろいろあったって言ってたの、 その子のこと？
Something like that.
ほんで口を割る気はないとなかなか手強い。胸の谷間程度じゃ不足か。ねえ、あれどうだった？興奮した？
I did.
あきとくん素直。
またバイト中に OL といかがわしいことしてんのか。
Just getting some advice on life. I answered, looking at my phone while Takeichi poured another round of coffee into a paper cup. Our cafe space allowed free refills of coffee. Sometimes we even got a quick meal if the manager was around.
お前の周り女子いっぱいいるじゃん。何も顔も知らないどっかの OL なんかに相手してもらわなくても。
I'm glad we're not that close, though. If you're too close, there's still a lot you can't say. For example, you can't complain about meeting up with a really close childhood friend again after several years. Besides, I gave a bold grin. I might not know her face, but how about this?
なんだこれ。
Look closely.
おま、これ
Yep, nothing but cleavage.
エロ自撮りかよ。
Takeichi slumped down even more and looked up at me with such a look of admiration. I just chuckled and shrugged. Komako sent it because she said I sounded depressed. All of the kindness of the open-minded older woman burst forth from her very soft-looking rack.
な、その OL ってさ、お前のこと誘ってるんじゃねえか。
I doubt it.
いやいやいや、ありえない話じゃないだろう。じゃないとそんな画像送らないって。年下の男の子をちょっとつまみ食いしちゃおっかな的なさ。
You really think so? I mean, I thought for just like a second, just maybe, but you know.
あるある、全然あるって。いけるって、アキト。
Yeah, but I'm not really that type of guy. But I guess she is always listening to me complain. She's probably really tired from life in the city, so I might be helping her ease some of her stress. I guess I could give it a try.
何を頑張るの？
What? I panicked and quickly shoved my smartphone back into my into my back pocket.
ん？
Welcome, mademoiselle.
どうしたの？そんなに慌てて。すごく怪しいよ。
It's nothing really, just talking, right, Take?
ああ、天の川にはまだちょっと早いな。
早い？
I kicked Takeichi in his narrow butt. You idiot, do you realize how much more suspicious you sound?
すまん、口が滑った。
Takeichi took the coffee refill and ran back over to the office space.
もしかして二人でエッチなサイトとか見てた？
What?
アキトくんは男の子だもんね。そういうこともするよね。
What does that mean that's what guys do? Do you look at those sites too, Saya?
見ないよ。何バカなこと言ってるのよ。バカ。
I was just kidding, though that intense reaction was quite suspicious. Saya blushed all the way to her neck and then hung her head.
私、エッチなサイト見てるように見えた？
No, not at all. It was quite strange for her to even say the word.
そう。
The expression on Saya's face changed to one of complete relief. So how did that favor go?
ね、天文部の活動してなかったみたい。
What? So what were they doing?
漫画描いてた。
Saya said with a dubious
う
expression.
ちの学校、漫研が禁止なんだって。だから、天文部で漫画描いてるみたい。
It's just a cover then. I had asked Saya to check out the Seisen Girls Astronomy Club. The Seisen Girls Astronomy Club had once been a member of the Six Stars Club, but they hadn't showed up at the gathering a few days back. We thought that maybe they were afraid of getting into trouble for meeting with another school without permission, but that wasn't the case. That'll be difficult to explain, though. Saya said apologetically. I had been thinking about how to revive the Six Stars Club, and I had my sights set on Syson's Astronomy Club to help raise money. 2 schools had already dropped out because of our talk about buying a telescope. I thought I might be able to improve the club's situation if I could pull in the Science Club, but who hadn't been at the last meeting. And I had thought that maybe if the Science Club had some good equipment, the other 2 schools would be pleased. I was hoping for a bit much, though. Saya just watched me and grinned as I sat there with my arms folded, lost in deep thought.
やる気だね、アキトくん。
I guess.
それってやっぱり光がいたから？
Don't be silly. She's got nothing to do with it.
でも前はやりたくなさそうだったのに。ねえ、本当にいたんだよね、あの光が。
Yeah, she was. As I sat there with my arms crossed, I suddenly recalled our reunion from a few days ago.
アキト。
That night, the strange girl I'd met at the abandoned station called my name.
アキトだよね。
Hickory? Even when I remembered it now, I still didn't get her pose, but she somehow gave me more confidence. That was definitely Hickory Fukushbushi. But why? And why there?
のりちゃん先輩！ほうき星さん、どうしてここにいるの？今日は来ないんじゃ。そのつもりだったんですけどね。やっぱり気になっちゃって。どなたですの？うちの新入部員です。どうもー、尼高天文部に新しく入りましたほうき星ひかりです。よろしくお願いします。新入部員？おお、そうなんです。むつら星の会の噂を聞いて入部してきてくれたんです。早くもむつら星効果が現れていたんですわね。今夜はなんて素晴らしい夜なのかしら。ようこそおいでくださいました、ほうき星さん。歓迎いたしますわ。光でいいですよ。ほうき星って長くてまどろっこしいでしょ。光さん、この場所を教えてくれたのも彼女なんです。この辺りに昔住んでたとかで。まあそうでしたの。それでこんな素敵な場所をご存知だったのね。ところで空見くんがさっきから抜け殻のように無表情を決めてますが。
I had arrived right behind Hickory and had been silently watching their exchange with a dead expression.
どうかなさったの？まるで幽霊でも見たような顔をして。
Yeah, well, that's pretty close to how I feel.
ひどくない？私幽霊じゃないし、生きてるよ。ほらほら。
She lifted her leg in an attempt to show liveliness. And aside from the old-fashioned pose, her skirt had flipped and created quite an inappropriate view.
ほうき星さん、空見くんのことを知ってるの？幼馴染なんです。でもって私たち三日月天文クラブのメンバーでしたから。ね、アキト。アキト？
Are you really Hickory?
どこからどう見ても私でしょうに。
Hickory said that while striking some strange, sexy pose.
ふんふん。
You've completely changed. She looked nothing like she had when we were younger. She was quite a petite girl back then, always running around in jeans. People that didn't already know her would even mistake her for a boy. But now, no matter how you looked at her, she'd become a total lady. If I had to describe it, I'd say it was like seeing glimpses of the old Hikari in her face and voice.
まあね、私も大人になったからね。
I couldn't believe it. Actually, I couldn't believe any of this.
今日は私がいたらぬせいで皆様に迷惑をかけてしまい 自分の不甲斐なさに呆れていました。けれど空見くんに助けていただき、そしてこうして新しい仲間と出会うこともできたわ。はあ、なんて素晴らしい日なのかしら。はい、会長。すごく楽しかったです。
Hickory watched all the other students talk excitedly with a big grin on her face, then glanced over to me.
というわけだから、またよろしくね、アキト。
Working with you again. If I think back to that day, when I passed by her walking with Kotaru, she must have been walking back from that place. If I had really thought about it at the time, Hickory wasn't actually trying to crash the viewing party. I'm just mad at myself for letting Hickory see me lose control. I'm not getting the Stars Club back together so I can get back to stargazing, okay? And definitely not for Hickory.
じゃあどうしてなの?
I just want to end this on a good note. Saya cocked her head to the side with a rather confused expression. If I leave now, there will only be 2 schools left in the Six Stars Club. To be honest, it'll be hard to continue in that state. That's why, if possible, I'd like to get the group back on its feet before I quit. But to do that, it seems I'll need something else other than the Seisen Girls Astronomy Club. I really wanted to use them to bring back Nishai Hai and Maromasiwa.
抜けようと思ってるくせに、すごく熱心だね。
I guess. Those guys really like looking at the stars. I really did like the innocent way that Orderheim gazed up at the starry sky. Plus, the genuine atmosphere that they created really felt familiar and radiant. I thought it would be nice if I could lend a hand in some way. If there's some way I can help protect that radiant place, then I'd do anything. And then once it's all over, I'm quitting the astronomy club.
Huh?
Saya's multicolored eyes widened in surprise.
天文部を辞めちゃうの?
Yeah, it's my responsibility, right? If the Six Stars Club would become a place that drew in newer students with its own charm, that would be best. Then it would be easy for me to slip out. Besides, I can't live my entire life in the rooms of the school.
住むところどうするの? 家に帰るの?
I'm not going back home. Hopefully by then I'll have found a boarding house, and if I haven't, I guess I could try just living in a tent for a while. I laughed lightheartedly. This time I'll make a clean break from the astronomy club. Right, Take? Weren't you the one telling me to forget about the astronomy club? Takeichi's face pleaded with me not to bring that up in front of Saya. This was payback for that time that I made the same face as Takeichi.
俺は光のこと吹っ切れよって言ったんだぞ。
It's the same thing to me.
つうか、前言撤回しとくぞ。光とまた会えたんだったら無理して吹っ切ることもねえだろ。
What the hell does that mean? Saya looked at me with a scowl she would usually never show and then just stared silently.
なんで? やめることないじゃん、天文部。光も戻ってきてくれたんでしょ? だったら一緒にやればいいじゃない。昔みたいに。
No way. Who the hell would want to watch stars with Hickory? I mean, what about you, Saya? You don't look at the stars or anything anymore, right?
私のことはいいの?
What was she getting all upset for? Saya's cheeks got all puffed up. It was cute, but she was also really mad. But I just ignored her with a blank expression. That's when a customer came in. Welcome.
もう知らないんだから。
Saya pulled the automatic doors back open before they could close and stormed out of the store. So stubborn.
お前もな。
I completely ignored Takeichi's words of faked astonishment. It was great working with y'all today. After my part-time job, I pushed my bike down a mostly deserted and dark street. There must be some other way, something to get Nishai Hai and Morimisawa back. For example, if we were to get the Saisen girls to come back, it would still be quite different from the Six Stars Club of that Orihami once. But even so, if everyone enjoyed stargazing in a more relaxed atmosphere, it would be easy to bring in younger students. But Orihime was already a third year and she'd be graduating this spring. After she's gone, it would just be Hanukkah. Would she be able to continue bringing in students alone? Hanukkah has always been more of an assistant. Noriko is just a beginner, and Hikari is way too fickle. Why do I care so much about that group when I'm the one that's trying to leave anyway? Even I thought it was strange that I worried so much. A message from Kamako? I stopped walking and pulled out my phone.
いいこと思いついたよ。望遠鏡が買えないならさ、いっそ作っちゃえばいいんじゃない？どうや、明暗でしょう。
Build a telescope? That's right! That's what we need to do. I have been walking quite sluggishly, but now I hurried to get back onto my bicycle. I biked with all the strength and speed I could, muster down the street back to the school. This is it. It looks like we've gone into the past again. Here, have a look. I turned to a black and white page at the back of the telescope book I borrowed from the town library.
本当だ。どれ、私も見せて。
Hikari and Sai peered at the book, their faces close as they shared a meat bun.
望遠鏡って作れるんだ。しかも超かっけえじゃん。
Hikari's eyes shone, and just like I thought they would.
大砲みたいだね。
Saya looked at the black and white photo in the book, her albiero eyes as big as saucers. We were all drawn in by the throwaway page at the back of the book on DIY telescopes. Kotaru looked at us with big lonely eyes, missing all the attention.
作ろう、私たちも。きっと三日月天文クラブの秘密兵器になるよ、これ。
You're right.
こんな大きなもの、私たちに作れるのかな。大丈夫、大丈夫。なんとかなるって。
We should all head to the library and see if they have any other DIY books.
望遠鏡を作る？
Yeah. Orihime and the others looked at the documents laid out on the desk. If we can't buy one, it would be better to build one.
会長？
Orihime was silent, but her eyes shone like the stars.
作りましょう。私たちの望遠鏡。
She said with excitement as she brought her hands together. It seemed like she was rather pleased with the idea. Noriko watched us all curiously before timidly raising a question.
望遠鏡を作るってどういうことですか？
We mean just that. We'll build it with our own hands, this telescope. This is a Dobsonian telescope. Noriko from Amahai had come all the way from Micro Academy just to hear my proposal. However, she gave a confused face as if to say, "Who is that?" when I brought up the Dobsonian. You see, Dobsonian is... When observing faint celestial bodies, you need a telescope with a large objective diameter that can collect a lot of light. But generally speaking, those kinds of telescopes are quite expensive. Even though we had some trouble with our budget at the last meeting, a large-scale telescope would require a budget several times larger. And since the lens needs to be large, it takes more work to move around, which means many were put in a more permanent location. That's why large-scale telescopes have always been out of reach for amateur astronomers. Then came the Dobsonian telescope. For virtually no money, people were able to build their own light and easy-to-carry large objective diameter telescopes. because they are handmade, there is an unavoidable drop in precision, but that is quite essential to astronomy. I'm not sure how the experts feel about it, but for the amateurs enjoying themselves, this isn't a big issue. They want to observe the deep sky objects that are impossible to see with smaller objective diameters, but they don't have the funds or a location for such a huge telescope. So that's why they have these handmade telescopes for hobbyists. And by the way, the name comes from the person who popularized the design, John Dobson. Most are Newtonian-type reflecting telescopes, but the materials for them can be found at local home improvement stores, so you don't have to worry about any special equipment. After saying that, I pointed to the documents I'd laid out. Blueprints, materials, a rough estimate of the costs, etc. The blueprint I also got from the internet was available to the public. Skilled amateur astronomers have built Dobsonian telescopes many times over and had made blueprints available for anyone to use. From those blueprints, I had picked the ones that seemed workable for us.
自分たちで作った望遠鏡で星を見る。なんて素敵な思いつきかしら。費用も大幅に抑えられていますね。
If we can get some scrap material, we can save even more money. The surrounding area was all rural, so I'm sure we could find some materials if we looked.
望遠鏡を作っちゃうほどなんてすごいです。そんなことができるなんて知りませんでした。しかし、うまくいくでしょうか。簡単ではないと思うのですが。
Well, that is...
そんなことは問題ではないわ。
Munehime said confidently.
天文学の父、ガリレオ・ガリレイが初めて夜空へ向けた望遠鏡は自作したものでした。その後、多くの天文家たちが望遠鏡を自作改良し、星空へとそれを向けてきた。自分たちの手で望遠鏡を作り、星を望む行為は偉大な先人の足跡をたどる旅でもあるのです。
Also, by making the most essential object to astronomy with their own hands, we'll be able to develop an even deeper understanding. I think there is much to be learned just from making one. Munehime just smiled sweetly and nodded.
もしぼんやりとしか星の見えない望遠鏡ができてしまったとしても、それでいいじゃない。自分たちで作った望遠鏡で見る星の光はきっと格別の眺めとなるはずだわ。
Hanukkah and Noriko both brightened after hearing Munehaime's words.
この計画を提案すれば、西高と諸見沢も戻ってきてくれるかもしれませんね。きっと戻ってきてくれますよ。だってすごく楽しそうですもん。やりましょう、会長。
It seemed as if we had come to a decision. By the way, I wanted you to take a look at the materials. I pointed to the materials section of the document. On the entire budget sheet, there was one part that had a special marker next to its price. The main mirror.
結構しますね。うわー、高い。
That main mirror is a vital part of a reflecting telescope. The concave mirror plays the important role of gathering light in the lens tube. It takes the place of the lens in a refracting telescope, the type of telescope most people think of, or binoculars. Precision and higher image quality would depend on the mirror used to build the telescopes. We could also create our own main mirror, but we would need to get glass in order to do that. I've researched the price of glass. If we go with just a Japanese maker, the quality is nice, but the price very high. If we go with a maker from overseas, it's cheaper, but there are some downsides, like inconsistencies in quality, or that it could take months from the time we order until the time we receive it. I wasn't sure about the details, but that was the information I had found on websites. With an overseas maker, if there was a problem, it might get really troublesome. Also, if it took months to get here, Munehime might have already graduated by then.
安全に行くなら既製品か。さもなくば国内メーカーから材料のガラスを仕入れるのが良さそうですね。けどそれだと結構かかっちゃいますよね。そうなるとまた前みたいに。
That's true, but I might be able to do something about that.
どうにかとは？
I think I know a place with some glass we could use as our material. I can't make any guarantees on the quality, but... Oh, and I have one request. Could you guys give me the contact information for Hickory from Amahai?
ほうき星さんの？
Even though we were already acquainted since we were childhood friends, I felt very uneasy about asking for another girl's contact information.
吉岡？はい、
Monica took out some kind of paper.
これをどうぞ。新しい名簿です。
On the list was Hickory's name and contact information. Thanks a lot.
いいえ、助かったのは私たちの方だわ。
Laura Jaime said as she grasped my hand. It was, nothing.
前回の官房会でも助けていただいたわ。本当に何とお礼を言ってよいのやら。はい、すごいですよね、空見くん。まだ1年生なのに。
The three older girls gazed at me proudly. And the most beautiful one out of the group was currently holding my hand in her own. Her hands were so soft that I started to think about how nice it would be to sleep wrapped in that warmth. Anyway, let me know if you guys come across any material we could use for the mirror. I wanted to shake off Oda Jaime's hand to hide my own shyness, but I didn't want to waste this moment. I stayed put, fully aware of how hot my feet felt. I'm sure they've already friend-zoned me since I'm younger than they are. Sometimes I just didn't know what to think of Oda Jaime and the others' attitudes toward me. Well, at least I've gotten my hands on Hickory's contact info. I stopped my bike and pulled out the list I got from Hanukkah. Hickory's current contact information was written there. It was her phone number, email address, plus the ID for a chat application that I always had. As I thought about the best way to reach her, I went over to some messages I had sent to Saya. Hey, do you remember that time we built a telescope?
あったね。
Do you remember what we did with the thing we used for the reflector?
エンシェントイビルアイのこと？
Yeah, that one.
さあ、どこやったっけ？私持ってないよ、あんな大きなの。
I don't have it either. Did we trash it, maybe?
多分光なら知ってると思うよ。
The ancient one's evil eye. Hickory had found it back when we had tried to make our own Dobsonian. She's probably thrown it out by now. Maybe it's best not to even ask. Well, it seems like there are some expectations, so I might as well just do it. Oh, but before that, I better thank Kamoko. Kamoko was the one who gave me the Dobsonian telescope idea. Thanks to your idea, Kamoko, the Six Stars Club might be okay after all. Thanks a lot for your help. I should probably use this momentum to talk to Hickory, too. I registered Hickory's phone number and email address to the address book on my smartphone, then opened up the chat application to register her ID. Most people use this app to communicate these days. I thought that this would be the easiest way to communicate with her. She obviously felt the same way I had since she had an ID. What the... I searched using the ID, but only one user was displayed. Kamako. Now, why would Kamako be displayed? I thought I'd made a mistake when putting in her ID, so I tried searching again. Kamako. That name appeared again. What in the world is going on? I couldn't understand it. Did that mean that Hickory was using the same username? I compared the ID with the ID that I had retrieved from Hanukkah with Kamako's ID. Kamako 820. Kamako 820. They were the same. Also, I recalled seeing this number before. Isn't this Hickory's birthday? I'd always thought that they were just a random collection of digits, so I never thought much about it. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Kamako's ID and Hickory's ID were the same?
ほんと？よかったじゃん。応援してるからさ、頑張ってね。
Kamako's reply arrived with perfect timing, but with the seeds of doubt planted, I couldn't help but be suspicious of her words. By the way, I was hoping you could help me with one more thing.
なになに？どんとこいだよ。
Do you know where the ancient one's evil eye is? She read the message, but she's not responding. The message I'd sent was already marked as read, and the usually quick to respond Kamako remained silent. I wondered if she was scared away by that painful memory of the ancient one's evil eye. Or she might just be in the middle of frying some tempura. Otherwise... Is this really Hickory? Despite my age, I had my fair share of experiences, but every now and again, even I was caught by surprise. I was pretty surprised that I'd run into Hickory at that abandoned train station too, but the situation was quadruple the level of stupefaction. It felt like the world had turned over. I was sure that this was how ancient peoples had felt when they saw the first total solar eclipse. I'm just going to go to work. I rode my bike to work, still dumbfounded.
OL の正体が光だった？悪い。意味がさっぱりわからん。光がどっかに就職してたってことか？
No, it just means that Hickory was pretending to be the office lady Kamako.
なんで？だってその OL とはネットで知り合ったんだろ？
はい。I'd met Kamako on the net. It was on the message board of a certain astronomy website. That's where I'd found a certain piece of astrophotography. The photo had been uploaded about a year ago. The big dumpling. It was the comment on the photo had said, maybe they were trying to say Dipper. An amateur had taken the photo and seems to have added the photo for fun. No one had responded. So I decided to write something. That's a nice photo, an original constellation. A few days later, a response was posted. Thanks for the reply. It's an original constellation I made a long time ago. We exchanged messages a few times until one day I received an email. I was naive enough to put my email address on the message board.
今都会の方に住んでて全然星が見えないの。退屈しのぎに星の話に付き合ってもらえると嬉しいな。
That was 2 months ago. Since then, I've been exchanging messages with the office lady, Kamako. Back when we were kids, we couldn't remember the names of any constellations except for the most famous ones. So we would just connect a bunch of random stars and make our own. One of those was the Big Dumpling. Takeichi looked at me with a face that said, Of course Hickory would use a name like that.
アキトはそれを偶然見つけて掲示板にレスを書いたわけか。
I didn't think that Hickory could have uploaded it. Besides, she had said she was an office lady from the city. I just believed that other people had the same idea as Hickory, so I thought nothing of it and just kept exchanging messages with Kamako.
そしたらやっぱり光だったと。
Appears that way. Do you know where the ancient one's evil eye is? I didn't get another message after that message was read. I had thought for a second it might just be a coincidence, but after going over the facts and seeing how I've yet to receive a message, I was about 99% sure I was right.
なんとまあ、年下の男を誘惑したがってる OL なんてそうそういないってこったな。
And with those words, Takeichi shattered my dreams. I really did think she was an older woman.
気持ちはわかる。切ないよな。憧れの相手が幻だったなんて。
I shook my head weakly. No, that's not it. We talked about stuff from really lame confessions to serious advice about life. I said as I showed Takeichi the chat log I had with Kamako. I'd really like your advice about something.
何言ってごらん。
What's the age limit for a guy who's uninitiated?
なんて読むのそれ。
Like a virgin.
童貞ね。
Kamako?
今ちょっとググってる。
5 minutes later.
いいんじゃないかな。何歳だって。結婚するまで守ってこそ紳士だよ。
お前さ、バカだ。
I know, but at that time I was really worried about it. Around the end of the summer vacation, a bunch of the guys in our class started exchanging information, who they had and hadn't given up on. I had sat through the entire thing with a rather bored expression on my face, but inside I had been shaking. It was normal for guys our age to worry about stuff like that.
こんなのが他にもあると。
I nodded, my expression grave. Before I knew it, I brought up my dark past. And so Hickory had all that information in the palm of her hand.
待てよ。じゃあ胸の谷間は
Yep. That chest belonged to Hickory. She was quite big. She had gotten taller, but she had also gotten bigger there too. So that means the selfie really is Hickory's cleavage. As Takeichi leaned over to peek at the screen, I quickly covered it.
なんで隠すんだよ。
It belongs to me.
んだよそれ。ケチ。
Anyway, back to work. I turned back to my work, suddenly feeling a bit more at ease. After returning to my room after work that night, I got my dinner ready like I always do. I warmed a can on the portable stove and poured the hot water into a container of instant noodles with a discounted rice ball. While waiting, I stared at my smartphone screen aimlessly. The image of Hickory's cleavage. She'd certainly gotten bigger, but what was she this big? My memory was clouded, so I couldn't remember it well. I had been so upset by the sudden reunion that I couldn't recall what Hickory's chest looked like. Besides, it wasn't something you could just stare at. Still, no reply. She replied within 5 minutes when I asked her about being a virgin. This was the first time she'd taken so long. Thinking it over again, there had been quite a lot of coincidences between the time I'd first met Kamako and the time I'd met Hickory again. That night, Noriko had said that a new member had joined after hearing about the Six Stars Club. She must have heard about the club from me. I had talked to Kamako about it. And on the night of the stargazing event, she had been in Edward Place. She knew that I'd be there. I don't know what she was waiting for there. She could have been waiting for me, but I really don't know. The real coincidence would have been me finding that photo on the net. At the same time, I had been in something of a sentimental period. That was because the Hubble Space Telescope was said to be decommissioned. I had been avoiding astronomy, but for some reason at that particular moment I decided to wander around some astronomy websites. I thought to console myself while reading posts from other sentimental people. So me finding the big dumpling photo really was a coincidence. Unless it was all just some huge lure. If so, then Hickory had uploaded that photo onto the net knowing that I would comment. Had she laid out the perfect trap for me? Why did she even feel like she needed to? But what bothered me most was that Hickory was still watching the stars. She hadn't actually gotten bored with it. The dark screen on my smartphone shot back to life as it notified me of a new message. She replied.
エンシェントイビルアイなら、あたしたちの秘密の天文台にあるよ。
I felt a strange kind of calm restored as I read the message. I replied with a short, I see, then set my phone down and went to eat dinner.
Nishiko はドブソニアン製作に乗り気なようでした。ただ、我々に計画の実行能力があるのかどうか、そこに疑念を残しているようです。諸見沢は西高ほどではないですが、望遠鏡の自作に関心があるようで、予算の問題さえクリアできれば参加していただけそうです。
Hanukkah summed up what the other schools had thought of the Dobsonian project. So our only issues are practicality and budget, right? I'd expected as much. Nishihai had always been fans of gadgets, so I thought they'd jump at the idea of making their own telescope. Then there was Mori Musawa. Despite being a technical school, I'd heard that their approach to astronomy was more laid back. They tended to concentrate on having fun stargazing together without any need for expensive equipment. Sounds like everyone's pretty strapped for cash. Things were probably different at an elite school like Maiko Academy, but most astronomy clubs couldn't hope for much in the way of club funds. In fact, mine didn't get any at all. But since I was the only member, I guess I should count myself lucky that it was even still recognized as an official club. Not that it mattered to me since I didn't do any club activities anymore. But it must have been tough for the other clubs at Nishai, Ama, and Moromisawa in a similar position. Asking them to pay for this project out of their own pocket wasn't really an option either. We needed some other way to get our funding. That was the problem we'd gotten together to discuss.
お利口なワンちゃんね。
After 10 minutes of petting from Uehami, Kotaro had finally started to warm up to our new friend.
お名前はなんておっしゃるの？小太郎です。私はコタちゃんって呼んでます。そう、小太郎さん。
At least having Kotaro there stopped Uehami from getting bored. Noriko is sure is taking her time.
電車に乗り遅れてしまったと連絡が来たので。
Amahai was right on the southernmost edge of Hanishinaka. Even by train, it would take a while to get here. And waiting for the next train would probably add 20 minutes onto her travel time.
ごめんなさい。
As if on cue, Noriko Canoe came charging through the ticket gate.
ごめんなさい。遅れちゃって。
Someone else followed after her breathless sprinting form, a girl whose ponytails bounced behind her as she ran.
もう、のりちゃん先輩が野良猫と遊んでるからですよ。それ言わないで。
Why was Hickory here too? I had already made plans to meet Hickory later. I had something I needed to discuss with her. Hickory waved when she saw me. All I could do was look away awkwardly. Kotaro had been shy around Uehami, but he looked really excited. He leapt up, wagging his tail vigorously. Saya, who had been kneeling down to pet Kotaro, also got back to her feet.
本当だ。本当に光だ。
Hickory met the dumbfounded gaze of Saya's blue and orange eyes, then shot forward, sending her ponytails flying into the air. Hickory smothered Saya in a tight embrace. Saya made feeble attempts to escape the hug and catch her breath. She looked the same as she did when she got exhausted from playing with Kotaro.
やだ、本当にさやなの？そうだよ。クリ、ちょっと生きてきない。
Come on, let her go.
いや
I somehow managed to tear them apart. Hickory flailed her outstretched arms like a child separated from her favorite toy.
本当にさやだ。
Hickory's hair swayed from her head, bobbed around, examining Saya from every angle.
ちっちゃくなったね。二人はいろいろ大きくなったね。
Saya said gloomily. She couldn't take her eyes off a part of Hickory's body that had grown especially well. Seeing the two girls together like this really brought their differences into focus. One was much taller and had matured in other ways too, while the other was still pretty much the same height and modestly endowed. I liked Saya the way she was then. She was cute after all. As if to answer my thoughts, she gave me a dismissive look.
元気だった？うん、元気だよ。もう元気元気。会いたかった、さや。
I held Hickory back by the collar in case she tried to latch onto Saya again.
全然変わってないね。美少女のまんまだ。あんまり嬉しくない。
You could tell she wasn't too happy. Where before Saya would have been able to look at Hickory in the eye, she now had to look up to her a little.
おやおや、この超ラブリーな柴犬はどこの誰かな。もしかしてあのちっちゃかった小太郎ちゃんかな。あんた大きくなったね。
Hickory crouched down and began to pet Kotaro. The dog himself was on cloud 9, playing with Hickory just like old times. It had been years since they'd last met, but he clearly still remembered her.
ねえ、太郎はどうしたの？太郎ちゃんは。
It happened last year. He was getting pretty old and all.
そっか。
Hickory looked solemn for a moment, then looked up at the stop and buy sign.
時の流れを感じるね。
She was right. We hadn't been to this store together since we were little kids. In that time, our familiar candy shop had become a convenience store. Our old dog had passed away, our puppy grew up. And for 3 ragamuffins, well, we at least looked older, even if some of us hadn't changed all that much. Looks like we're all here. Shall we get going? There was no time to stand around and reminisce. We had a job to do.
その方はどちらにいらっしゃるんですの？
In here.
ここのコンビニに？
I nodded and turned to adjust the group. It'll look weird if we all go in at once, so you Emma High girls wait outside for now.
はい。小太郎、遊ぼう。
I glanced at Hickory again and looked away. I still hadn't talked to her about the whole Kamako thing. To be honest, I was a little uncomfortable being around her now. Okay, let's go.
いらっしゃいませ。
A highly unmotivated employee greeted us from the register. Everything about her screamed that she'd rather be anywhere else than here. There weren't any customers in the store apart from us. Hey, Miss Miharu, do you have time to talk?
何？
With a little prompting, Otohime stepped forward from behind me.
あなたが早乙女美春先輩ですのね。はじめまして。私、明光学院天文部前部長、そして現六つら星の会の会長を務めさせていただいております白鳥織姫です。
Otohime concluded her elaborate self-introduction with a polite bow. Miss Miharu remained unimpressed.
そんなことより早く労働から解放されたい。そこのもっと教え子、さっさと用事済ませてとっとと店番変わりやがれ。
Miss Miharu, you said that out loud.
おっと、これは失礼したわ。早乙女美春、コンビニの店番は仮の姿に。その実態は？
You know, until something else turns up. I got the feeling she was holding back from saying a lot more. You already know about the Six Stars Club, right?
うん。私たち、ある巨大なプロジェクトを動かすことになりましたの。これです。
Hanukkah spread some papers out on the counter. She'd revised the plans I gave her yesterday and made them a lot more organized.
へえ、ドブソニアン作るんだ。そうなんですの。我々はこの望遠鏡を新生六つら星の会の象徴とし、永遠に続く繁栄と結束の証とすべく。
Miss Miharu sat through Otohime's speech with an utterly disinterested look on her face, occasionally stifling a yawn.
きっと未来永劫語り継がれる偉業となることでしょう。もう終わったの？
Miss Miharu had been spacing out, but now her eyes snapped back into focus. Hard to believe that this was the same woman who 4 years ago would scold students who were not concentrating in class.
ねえ、なんだっけ？
We have been struggling to raise the necessary funds for this project, so we were considering asking for donations from interested parties. The moment money was mentioned, a deep furrow appeared on Miss Miharu's brow. She looked from me to Otohime to Hanukkah, all the time with the same severe expression.
遊ぶお金欲しさに悪い人から借金でもしちゃったの
Otohime didn't seem to understand and just stared blankly. Hanukkah flinched under the former teacher's glare and shook her head. Satisfied that these two girls weren't responsible for whatever scheme she was imagining, Miss Miharu turned her attention to those waiting outside. Marika was still watching us through the window. The concerned look on her face was enough to prove her innocence. Ignoring Saya, Miss Miharu fixed her gaze on the fashionable young city girl playing with Kotaru.
あれか。
You got it wrong. Wait, what were you two even talking about? She hadn't been paying attention earlier, and now she's creating a big misunderstanding.
っていうか、あの小娘。
Miss Miharu continued to stare intently at that girl.
ほうき星じゃないの。なんで連れてこないの？
She seemed a little offended. I guess I owed her an explanation. Don't you think it'd be a shock for her to see you like this? Hickory had been away for 4 years and hadn't seen how Miss Miharu had changed. In her mind, Sensei was still that perfect, beautiful teacher who had been a role model for all her students. If we had to shatter that illusion, springing it on her suddenly would be too cruel. We needed to ease into it gradually. That was partly why I asked Hikari to meet me after the whole ordeal, although she had showed up early anyway. Now that I had to use this excuse as to why I made her wait outside, from the way our conversation with Miss Miharu had gone, I was confident I made the right choice.
別にいいと思うけど、昔と同じ綺麗な先生でしょうに。
Excuse me? You're completely different now. Just then.
来ないで！コタちゃん、ダメだよ、ほいちゃん。怖かった。いきなり猛犬をけしかけてくるなんて、やってくれるわね、天の川さや。コタちゃんって猛犬かな？かわいいよ、ほら。コタちゃん、静かに。おのれ、猛獣使いめ。そんなことより、ちょっとこっち来て。そこに立つ。そう、背伸びしちゃダメよ。絶対ダメよ。かかと、こうかな。見るがいい。こないだの身体測定で 1.5 センチも伸びてたコロナの実力を。あれ？待って。ほら、コロナの方が背高い。コロナちゃん、背伸びしてるよね。これに懲りたら、もうアキ兄にちょっかい出さないでよね。わかった？そんなこと言われても。こーら、さやをいじめるな。何すんのよ、あんた。相変わらずさやに絡んでんだね、あんたは。困った子だよ。あ！ピカリンだ！その名前で呼ぶな。このノーテンチョップ、やっぱりピカリンだ。そうだよ、ほうき星光、ハレー彗星のごとく華麗に舞い戻ってきたぜ。本当にピカリンだ。わあ、おしゃれになってる。そうだろう、そうだろう。でかい！そうだろう、そうだろう。おかえりピカリン。呼び方は気に食わないけど、久しぶりだから多めに見てやろう。元気してたか、ちびすけ。
What the heck is going on out there? Apparently, Corona had shown up and started making a racket.She must have been really excited to see Hickory again. Oh no, they're coming in. Hide! I hurriedly shoved Miss Miharu out of view, behind some shelves. Hickory and Saya followed Corona into the store.
アキニー！
Hey, Corona, what's up?
アキニー、あのね、この前のお話、 またいっぱい人集めて天文クラブやるんでしょ？
How did you know that? Did you hear that from your brother?
違う。みはるちゃんが教えてくれた。早乙女先生いるの？
Hickory's reaction was instant and just what I'd expected.
会いたい。ねえ先生、今何してるの？
What was she doing these days? That was a tricky question. Our old school had long since been shut down and demolished to make way for the dam, but Hickory still thought Sensei was teaching somewhere. Her eyes sparked with the complete and utter faith in her old teacher. Or if she had suspected that she'd quit teaching, she'd probably imagining some amazing job worthy of Miharu Satome. She remembered. Well, you see, while I struggled to come up with an answer, Hickory sided up to me and whispered in my ear,
ねえ、さっきからこっち見てる変な人がいるんだけど。
A weirdo?
不審者かな？最近おかしな事件多いし、通報した方がよくない？
I followed Hickory's gaze. There were two eyes watching us from behind the shelves. No, there's nothing shady about her.
そうなの？
Well, I can't deny that she's pretty suspicious looking, but it's not worth involving the police. In fact, we kind of owe her a lot.
みはるちゃん、やっほー。
In response to Corona's innocent greeting, the weirdo we knew as Miss Hikaru slipped out from her hiding place.
あれ、早乙女先生だったの？
やあやあ、ほうき星、久しぶり。
お久しぶりです。
最初見たときわかんなかったわよ。見違えたね。
先生もなんか変わりました？
そうかな。昔からうちじゃこんなもんだけど。
Miharu glanced at her beyond casual outfit as she spoke.
ねえ、アキト、この人本当に早乙女先生？
Well, you know how it is. Nothing lasts forever, not even the stars.
積もる話は後にしてもらって、まずは要点を。
Right. We've gotten a little sidetracked. So, Miss Miharu, do you think you can help us out with the donation?
なんで私が？
Well, you are a former member of the Six Stars Club. Until today, I'd never really talked to Miharu about the Six Stars Club. I'd completely forgotten that she was a graduate of Poshio Daiichi and had been in the astronomy club just like me. The Six Stars Club was still active back then. It's for your darling ex-students. Please, Miss Miharu.
お願いしますわ。お願いします。
Everyone looked at Miss Miharu expectantly.
あんたら、ニートの財布を軽く見てないか？大人だからってお金持ってるわけじゃないんだからね。
ニート？
Exactly, but if we can't get a layabout to chip in, the other former members won't have any excuse.
こいつ、作詞だ。
ねえ、ニートって何？どういうことなの？ね
え。わかったわ。協力してあげる。
Miss Miharu became cooperative much faster than I'd expected. Then she opened a cash register.
で、いくら欲しいの？
Wait, you can't take it out of there. What if the manager...
何やってんだよあんた！
やば、見つかった！
The manager, our former teacher's mother, stepped out from the back of the store.
あんたって子はろくに働きもしないで店のもの勝手に食べるだけじゃ飽き足らず、とうとうレジのお金に手をつけるとは。
可愛い後輩を助けるためなの。それにまだ手つけてないし。
ほらほら、言い訳はおよし、みっともないよ。ほんと私は情けないよ。こんなことなら無理にでも見合いさせてとっととうちから追い出しとくんだった。父ちゃんが甘やかしすぎたんだね。一人娘だからって可愛がりすぎたせいで。
The manager launched into one of her tirades. Watching an adult get scolded for misbehaving like a kid was an awkward sight. I just couldn't bear to watch.
やめて母さん、教え子が見てるから。教育上良くないから。
But none of us were watching anymore. Everyone had taken out their phones and were checking the weather, horoscopes, and whatnot. It was probably kinder that way. Miss Moharu had been dragged away, and I was watching the store. After about 15 minutes, she staggered brokenly back in.
あんたらのせいでひどい目にあったわ。
No, it was your own fault. No one asked you to steal from the register.
ジョークよ、ジョーク。子供たちを笑わせてやろうとしてたら、母さんが早とちりしちゃっただけよ。
なんだ、ジョークでしたの。だよね。
We forced ourselves to laugh, more because we wanted to believe it more than anything else.
はいよ。
Miss Moharu handed us some money. 500 yen coin.
何その顔。
Nope, every little bit counts. Thank you.
足りないって顔ね。
No, that's not... It had all been so sudden. I guess my surprise had shown on my face. Miss Moharu thrust her hands into her pockets and brought out a handful of small change. 2 100 yen coins, 4 tens, and a few fives and ones. Arigato gozaimasu.
感謝します。ねえ、これもジョークなのかしら。
Miss Moharu brought out her wallet.
やはりジョークだったのですわね。
Under everyone's intense stares, Miss Moharu's trembling hand took out some paper money. It had a picture of a guy with wavy hair, a 1,000 yen note. Wow, thank you so much. Everyone raised their voices in thanks. You're really helping us out, Miss Moharu.
せいぜいいい貿易を作りなさいよね、この山賊ども。
Miss Moharu tried to pet Kotaru, but as he gave a flustered bark and ran outside. Looks like we're one step closer now. Parting with this money had been hard for Miss Moharu, but we wouldn't let her sacrifice be in vain.
よかったのかしら。なんだか無理をさせてしまったようだったけど。
I can always pay her back later. Besides, Miss Moharu wasn't the one I worried about. Hickory was no longer bright and cheery as when she first arrived. She was shuffling at the back of the group, looking like a starving traveler who'd been wandering the desert for days.
そのせいなの。全部政治が悪いの。
She must have been in shock. What could I say to her at a time like this?
あきに
Gordon was running up after us.
ねえ、あきに。コロナも天文クラブに混ぜてよ。
I don't know about that. The Six Stars Club was made up of members from 6 different high schools. But Corona was a year below us and didn't go to any of those schools yet.
来年あきにとこの学校に行くもん。そしたら天文部入る。
You're going to Daiichi? I thought your grades were good enough to get you into Saisen.
やだ、泥棒猫がいる学校行かないもん。
She threw a glare in Saya's direction. For some reason, Corona always viewed Saya as her rival. I thought about how to answer.
もしかしてこの子が以前ひかりさんが話してた三日月天文クラブのメンバーなのかしら。
No, she wasn't.
そうですね。
Back then it was just me, Hickory, and Saya. I waved Saya over so I could introduce her properly. This is Saya, our third member.
天の川そうです。
She mumbled a quick introduction. Saya was just as nervous around new people as Kotaru. I guess she hadn't made much small talk with Noriko while she was waiting outside the store either. Saya goes to Saisen Girls' School. Poor Jaime continued to gaze at Saya as if she hadn't heard a word I'd said.
綺麗な目をしてらっしゃるのね、さやさん。あ、ありがとうございます。
Saya went bright red. She wasn't used to being complimented on her multicolored eyes, Now she couldn't stop blushing. There was something in the way Orohime spoke that made it clear her words weren't lies or empty flattery.
ではあなた方3人だけですかね。
Orohime looked curiously at Corona.
コロナは1個下だから混ぜてもらえなかった。
Corona bit her lip and looked away shyly. We didn't mean to leave you out, it's just we spent a lot of time outdoors at night and early in the morning. And Corona's mom was really strict and would never allow me to go out from so late. Maybe if we'd been in a real club, she might have been allowed.
なら今度こそ混ぜてあげましょうよ。
What? But she still...
方針を育てるのもムツラボシの会の重要な役割だわ。
I guess so. You still interested, Corona? Corona turned to face Orohime, her face alight with gratitude and awe.
ありがとう。おっぱいの大きい超綺麗なお姉さん。どういたしまして。
Make sure you get your parents' permission this time.
計画が一歩前進し、新しい仲間も増えて、今日はなんていい日なのかしら。これは記念日として末永く語り継ぐべきだわ。吉岡。はい、会長。
Annika opened up her pocket calculator. We'd better not. We shouldn't force some weird tradition on future generations.
そうかしら。いいと思うんだけれど。
Orohime looked a little disappointed.
白鳥さん、吉岡さん、そろそろ行かないとお昼の上映時間に間に合いませんよ。そうだったわ。
Are you guys going somewhere?
ええ、これから私たちプラネタリウムを見に行くの。プラネタリウム？ハーバータウンにオープンしたんですよ。
Harbor Town was an outdoor mall on the side of town that faced the coast. I'd heard that it had a lot of stylish and expensive stores, but hadn't been there myself.
よかったらあなたも来る？え、いいの？
We've got some things to take care of, Corona, so you may as well tag along with them.
行く。
As the three of us, we have to go collect something.
あれ？
What did we used to call it again?
エンシェントイビルアイ。
Yep, that's right.
私に言わせるのやめてくれないかな。今のはわざとだよね。
Saya started to sulk.
健闘を祈っているわ。よろしくお願いします。
Sure.
それじゃほうき星さん、またね。はーい、のりちゃん先輩。
We saw the four girls off until they caught their bus toward the harbor town. With just me, Saya, and Hickory left, an uneasy air settled over us. Hickory made an effort to break the silence, or maybe she never even noticed the awkwardness to start with.
さてと、それじゃあ私たちも行こうか。秘密の天文台へ。ニートってあれだよね。働けるのに働かない人のことだよね。先生にもきっと事情があるんだよ。
We were heading toward our old secret observatory. That night, the same abandoned station where I was reunited with Hickory again. Back when we were kids, we made that place our secret base and played there all the time. That's where the Ancient One's evil eye was now. According to Hickory, that is. Saya wasn't officially part of the Six Stars Club, but I invited her all the same. I figured she'd want to see Hickory again, and besides, it wouldn't feel right going there unless it was the three of us. I guess I want to avoid being alone with Hickory too. Ever since I found out she's Kamoko, I don't know how to act around her. I'd planned to meet Hickory after we asked Miss Miharu for a donation, but she just had to turn up early. It looked like she regretted it now, though.
元気出して光。先生、あんなだけど今でも時々優しいんだよ。ありがとうさや。 さやが変わってなかったことが私の救いだよ。
I watched Hickory as she and Saya walked ahead of me. I just couldn't work out what she was thinking. Why did she suddenly join the astronomy club? Why did she pretend to do some random art worker, office worker? And how did she know the person she was messaging was me? I guess the username Akito wasn't exactly hard to figure out. Well, seeing as I was the only person to respond to that shoddy photo, it would have been weird if she hadn't at least suspected it was me. Now that I'd thought about it, when we first started talking, her message did have some strange questions. I guess she'd been trying to work out if I was the same Akito she used to know. Hold on, does this mean that I had been actually complaining about Hickory right to her face? I took out my phone and looked at the message log from yesterday. This girl really irks me though. Even when we were younger, she always acted without thinking. I'm not really interested in being involved with someone so reckless.
へえ、いいじゃない。運命の再会って感じでさ。あ、もしかして前に昔いろいろあったって言ってたの、その子のこと？
Something like that.
ほんで口を割る気はないとなかなか手強い。胸の谷間程度じゃ不足か。ねえ、あれどうだった？興奮した？
I did.
あきとくん素直。
I picked up my pace a little until I was closer to Hickory, still trying to act casual so she wouldn't notice. They're huge. Like, really big. How did Hickory manage to grow so fast, so much so fast? Somehow they look even bigger in the picture, though. Was it some kind of trick photography? Oh, it's really fitted clothing?
何が？
Oh, you know, any clothes. I had gotten a little carried away and blurted out my thoughts. Let's get going, it's gonna get dark. I strode ahead of the others two, and I strode ahead of the other two and took the lead. We made slow progress, and I guess we were just getting used to being a group again after all these years. No one said a word, but I think we were kind of excited. The three of us together again, going to the secret base where we'd spent so much of our childhood. We stopped and stood for a moment. The Hoshino Dam was right in front of us. Hickory stared at the expanse of concrete dam up the river, a grave expression on her face.
あの橋はもうなくなっちゃったんだね。
Yeah. There used to be a bridge downstream. That was where we'd meet up when we got together. It felt special to us. When we crossed that bridge, we left the normal world behind and entered the lonely wilderness of the mountains.
光はここ見るの初めてだよね。
It wasn't completed until after she'd moved away.
こないだ通ったからその時見たよ。
いやー、もうすっかり跡形もないね。
Kari looked out across the flooded valley. Somewhere at the bottom of this reservoir were the remains of a town we'd grown up in. Come on, let's go. No use standing around. We continued to walk alongside the dam.
さやは引っ越さずに住んだんだよね。
うちは村外れだったから。
Saya's house was nearer the center of town and wasn't part of the land that got flooded.
あきとはどうしてるの？
Yeah, I had to move. I've been living in my granddad's house, but that was under the water now. I lived in one of the new apartment buildings until last year when Granddad died.
え？
Oh, don't worry, he lived a good life. He was a stubborn, cantankerous old man, but toward the end, he said something that made me see him differently. If you hadn't been here, I'd have had no one to take care of me. Arigato. It had come out of nowhere. I had always thought I was nothing but trouble to him, but when he told me that, I had broke down into tears.
じゃあ今はどうしてるの？
I live at school.
そうなんだ。
Hickory looked confused as she started to realize what I just said.
何？学校に住んでるって。
After Granddad died, I went back to live with some old relatives for a while, but it didn't work out. They were the ones who sent me away to live with Granddad in the first place. So now I work part-time with Miss Miharu and sleep in the astronomy club room at my school.
なるほど。それで学校に。いやいや、全然納得できないけど。っていうか、住んでいいの？学校って。
ダメなんじゃないかな。
Saya gave a resigned sigh. That's why I'm in the astronomy club. Maybe my school was just way too laid back about security, but I didn't get the feeling I was going to be discovered and thrown out anytime soon. Those distant relatives were still my legal guardians. Even if they didn't necessarily love me, they still took me in and put a roof over my head. And I was grateful to them, of course. How could I not be? But I had always had this feeling that I was a burden on them. Like every mistake I'd ever made was something I'd done never be able to make up for. Eventually, I couldn't stand staying with them any longer. That feeling had been slowly chipping away at my heart. I'd been feeling that way since my parents died, and now I felt like if I didn't do anything about it, it would eventually drive me crazy. So I decided to cause my family as little trouble as possible. I moved out and started earning money, planning to someday pay them back for everything. By the time Granddad was gone, I had already decided to go to Hoshino Daiichi, and that was a bit of a commute from their place, so it just made sense.
なるほど。ね。
Hickory didn't look too sure, but nodded all the same.
だから今は下宿先を探してるんだよね。
へえ、一人暮らしするんだ。
I nodded vigorously. If I don't get out there and live my own life soon, I'll end up having to marry Miss Miharu. I said as a throwaway line, but the girl suddenly tensed up.
何それ？聞いてないそんなこと。
結婚ってどういうことよ。しかも相手が早乙女先生って。
The store manager seems to like me, and since I have no place to live, she said I might as well join the family.
なんでそうなるの？飛躍しすぎでしょうに。
In a way, though, this is your fault, Hickory.
え？
The whole reason I'm in this mess is because you spread some rumor about Miss Sayotomi being my first crush.
だって本当のことでしょ？
違うの？
They looked at me like I must have been mistaken. No, she wasn't. I should know, right?
ふーん。
The two of them walked ahead. I could tell they didn't believe me. It's the truth. I'm serious.
はいはい。さっさと行くよ。
早くしないと暗くなっちゃうよね。
Ugh, why do I even try? We passed the dam and carried on up the slope toward where we'd held our meeting yesterday. Are you getting tired, Saya?
ううん、平気。
She looked a little unsteady on her feet, though. We'd walked a pretty long way, and now we were on uneven ground. I glanced around for something to support her, but I couldn't find anything. Here, hold on. Saya took the hand I held out to her. We linked arms and clumsily staggered up the slope.
おお。
I can carry you if you want.
いい。
You were about to say yes, weren't you? No need to be shy.
してないもん。変なこと言わないでよもう。
Saya thumped my arms and blushed bright red. A few feet away, Hickory watched us. A smile came to her lips. It may have been perfectly innocent, but knowing Hickory, it probably had some hidden meaning. What? You're creeping me out here.
安心したよ。さやとアキトが付き合ってて。
What? Confused, Saya and I looked at each other and then back to Hickory. We're not together. What was she talking about now?
別れちゃったの？
そうは見えないんだけど。
We didn't break up. We were never going out to begin with.
ういうこと？
Hickory looked to Saya for an explanation. Saya seemed troubled but didn't say anything.
いやいやいや、どこからどう見ても付き合ってるでしょうが、それ。
What? Oh, you mean this? It sounded like she'd gotten the wrong idea about Saya clinging on to me. But we've always done this, right?
いやいや、
Hickory looked at me and Saya like we had a couple of screws loose. Did you want the other arm?
いい。
Why not?
さやが一瞬すっごい怖い顔して睨んでたから。
Really?
してないよ、そんな顔。おお、怖い怖い。
Hickory gave an exaggerated shudder and bounded up the hill full of energy.
もう光。
We walked on toward our secret observatory, continuing our conversation. After climbing a little further, we arrived at the line of trees. There was an animal trail leading through the small forest. Watch your step. Still holding on to me, Saya took a furtive step forward.
ここもあんま変わってないね。
Hi. The forest floor didn't get much light, so there wasn't a lot of new grass, leaving our old dirt path to look more or less the same as it always had. Walking along that path, supporting Saya as I went, I couldn't help but remember that day. The day the three of us had discovered our secret observatory.
昔裏山に隕石が落ちたんだって。学校終わったら探しに行こう。
Hickory had suddenly come up with the idea one afternoon. We had met up at the bridge after school and walked onto the mountain just like we were doing right now.
早く早く。待って、光。
Saya, take my hand. I don't know who she heard that story about the meteor from, but it didn't sound very likely to me. Even if it was true, we'd never find it. We didn't have any idea where to look.
大丈夫、磁石持ってきたから。隕石には磁石がくっつくんだって。
Actually, not all meteorites contain magnetic metals, but we didn't know that back then. We were just clueless little kids with all the time in the world. Especially Hickory, she never seemed to run out of energy.
暗いよ。お化け出ない。大丈夫。さやのことは私たちが守るから。
Yeah, we both will. Don't be scared. We were totally serious, and I think Saya could tell. Taking courage from what we'd said, Saya ran after Hickory, still holding onto my hand. Do your legs hurt?
そうじゃないの。ちょっと怖いなって思って。
Was it the darkness of the forest that scared her? Come on, Saya, you're not a little kid anymore. The old station wasn't far beyond the forest. We all had so many special memories of that place. I wondered what it looked like now. From going there yesterday, I knew the train was still there, but it had been dark and I'd only been able to make out its silhouette. It was probably a mess now. When we saw it, we would get the same unpleasant feeling we got from looking at the dam. Maybe I was scared too, scared of seeing something that used to mean a lot to me now in ruins.
あ、出口だよ。
Hickory pointed toward a gap in the trees where the sun was shining. She started jogging toward it. Nothing ever got that girl down. Hey, wait up! We matched Hickory's pace and followed her out of the forest. Sure enough, there was the abandoned station and its sole occupant. It was pretty run down and ragged. But then again, it hadn't exactly been new when we'd come here in the first place. Seeing it in the light of day, I'm sure we all thought the same thing. It's just the same as ever. It hadn't changed. There's really something special about this place. It's almost like the river of time just passes it by. while, we all just stood on the platform and took it all in. Just like the first time. We'd stood like this when we discovered the place while looking for the meteorites. The station?
列車がある。でも誰もいないね。廃駅だよ。だってここの路線はもう今は使われてないはずだもん。
So they just left the train here? Hickory ran along the platform.
ドア開いてる。中入れるよ。
Wait a sec. There was only one door open at the end of the carriage. Saya and I followed Hickory through that one open door.
綺麗なまんまだね。
Well, probably because the doors were closed. The door at the back leading to the second car was also shut, so the interior of the car wasn't very messy at all.
すごいすごい。
All thoughts of the alleged meteorite disappeared from our heads in a flash. That had felt like the discovery of the century.
ねえ、ここは私たちの秘密基地にしようよ。
Saya and I eagerly agreed to Hickory's suggestion. We felt like no one could have a better secret base than this. But I added a suggestion of my own. No, wait, how about a secret observatory? After that, we cleaned up the inside of the car and brought in food, furniture, and a few pieces of junk that we considered treasures.
あの頃と全然変わってないね。
Well, it wasn't as clean and it had gotten rustier. There were also a few more dead leaves and cobwebs than there used to be. But it had survived. Our stuff was still there too. It really hadn't changed as much as I thought it would have.
大きなタイムカプセルみたい。
I stepped outside and took another look at the train car's exterior. It was rusty and the paint was peeling in places. The windows were caked in dirt but not yet broken. I can't believe it. The station was part of the line run by the railway company Hickory's dad worked for. But before I even moved here, part of the track had been buried in a landslide, and rather than recover it, they just discontinued the line. The train car had been here during the landslide. I guess that's why they left it here to rust, but we never found out for sure. I suppose that it would take a lot of money and effort to move it, but no one would really mind it being left in a remote place like this. And so we were the ones that had found this forgotten train. Then we made it our secret observatory. This train is the Milky Way Railroad Observatory headed for the sky. Though we have conquered the solar system, our journey is not yet over.
あったよ、秋田。
Hickory peeked out through the door.
ほら、これ。なんだっけ。エンシャント・イビル・アイ。そう、それ。恥ずかしいからって、私に言わせるのやめてよね。
That piece of junk known as the Ancient One's Evil Eye was enshrined at the back of the car. It was just a thick piece of colorless glass. It had a round shape and its surface was covered in concrete circles that spread out like ripples in water. That's what made it look like an eye. Back when we were in the 6th grade, it was decided that our school was going to be shut down at the end of the year. They had started demolishing the older school buildings ahead of time. There's where this old decoration came from. We all thought it was creepy when we were little, so we decided to give it a creepy name, the Ancient One's Evil Eye. When we had tried to make a Dobsonian telescope before, I asked Miss Sayatome if we could use this for telescope's objective mirror. John Dobson had used a glass from his ship's portholes in the telescopes that were later named after him, so I thought we could do something similar. Plus, it felt like the Ancient One's Evil Eye must have had some kind of amazing power slumbering within it. In the end, though, it didn't work out. Our telescope was never completed. Maybe it was too ambitious of a project for us while we were still that young. And now, all we have left was this piece of glass. I knew we hadn't thrown it away, but I couldn't remember what happened to it.
なんでも宝物見つけたって言って拾ってくる光のおかげだね。人をカラスか何かみたいに言わないでくれるかな。
This old train really was a time capsule. We can't carry this all the way home. Let's come back tomorrow with a wheelbarrow or something. How did we even manage to move this around before? That little mystery stayed hanging in the air, but satisfied that the glass was still here, I turned to leave.
どこ行くの？
Home? Hickory looked confused. It's not like there's any point in sticking around.
でもせっかく来たんだしさ。ねえ、さや。
Saya watched me, trying to call me back. Sorry, I have to head to work, I said curtly and left the two girls behind. Thank you, please come again. I had finally finished serving the last customer and heaved a heavy sigh of relief. The store's pretty busy this time of day, when lots of people were headed home from work. Once we dealt with them, though, we had some time to breathe before the next train of commuters arrived. The sun had long since set, and it was dark out. Wonder if they're still here. I looked at my phone, but it had no new messages. Hickory had come here by train. She's at least dropped it in on your way back. Well, after I'd left them both behind like that, I couldn't blame Hickory if she'd gone home without saying anything to me. What is she thinking? I became irritated just thinking about Hickory's actions of the last few days. I still couldn't work out why she'd joined the astronomy club.
スマイル、スマイル。外からも見えてるわよ。
Miss Miharu appeared from the back room. It was true that when she was in the dark outside, you could see the inside of the store clearly. Even if I couldn't smile, I could at least try not to look irritated. Thank you for today.
ん？ああ、カンパね。
There aren't that many people I can count on. You really helped me out.
見え張って最後の紙のお金出しちゃったから、すっからかんよ。明日にでも母さんに泣きつかないとだわ。
Really? Was it really safe to ask for money after getting chewed out earlier the same day? Which means that really was all the money she had? Komenasai.
いいのよ、あのくらい。
Shrugging off her mom's lecture was something she was used to. Miss Miharu went to open the warm pork bun case but stopped. Go on and take one, my treat. Maybe she felt a little weird about being treated by a former student because Miss Miharu blushed a little when she nodded. I rang the purchase and pulled out my wallet to pay. Here's some coffee, too. I poured out a cup of coffee. I already knew how Miss Miharu liked it. Lots of milk and sugar.
ドブソニア、楽しみだわ。
You can come and see it when we're done.
あたぼうよ。こっちとら全財産投資したんだからね。
Miss Miharu grumbled as she took her coffee. Most of the Six Stars Club's activities are going to be held out in the mountains. I think you should join us for some stargazing. You don't get many chances to watch the stars these days, right? I knew better than anyone that Miss Miharu didn't have the money for proper stargazing equipment. She wasn't just avoiding it like me.
そんな心配までしてくれなくていいんだよ。
But
あんたたちのためにできることがあるなら、なんだってやるわよ。
Miss Miharu bit into the steaming pork bun. I couldn't tell if she was being sincere or just kidding around.
昼間のあれ、本当にあのほうき星なんだね。
Sure is. I was still coming to grips with it. Miss Miharu decided not to go over to the cafe area, but stayed at the counter silently eating her bun. really like these pork buns, huh?
ちっちゃい頃から食べてるからね。私にとっちゃソウルフードみたいなもんよ。
Even Miss Miharu had been a kid once. Obviously she had, but it was too hard to imagine. She was already an adult when I first met her. It was easy to think she'd always been like that. Back when we were kids, these pork buns were a luxury item. Whenever we had some extra allowance or were really craving them, we'd all pitch in and buy one together. Miss Miharu finished off the last of her bun and washed it down with some coffee. When she was done, she took a deep breath.
はい。
She took a notebook out of her bag and laid it on the counter. What's this? The front cover was being held together with tape. I felt like I'd seen this old book before. Wait, this is...
あんたたちの惑星観測ノートだよ。
our planetary observation journal? That's right, Hickory Saya and I wrote this together. Why do you still have it, though? And what's with the tape?
さやがね、持ってきたんだよ。泣きながら。どうしたの？天の川さん。
先生。
何？このノート。こんなに破れてしまって。
冬休みの自由研究のノート。ひかりちゃんとあっくんと私のそうでください。
ノートがどうしてそうなっちゃったのか、なんで泣いてるのか、聞いても教えてくれなかったわ。
We'd use this journal to record our observations over 1 year. We were going to submit it as our 6th grade independent study project. So Saya handed it in, huh? She must have been the one who taped it too.
ねえ、あんたが星を見なくなっちゃったのと、そのノートが破れてるのって、やっぱ関係あるの
？I nodded. There was no use in hiding it. Miss Miharu sighed, but didn't ask anymore. I silently stared at the notebook. Even the torn pages inside had been mended. When I imagined Saya fixing this all by herself, I felt a pain in my chest.
また見たらいいじゃん、星。あんなに好きだったんだからさ。っていうか、今でも好きでしょ？じゃなきゃ、ロブソニアン作ろうなんて思いつかないよ。
That was Hickory's idea.
同じことだよ。そのアイディアに、ああやって乗っかったんだから。
Miharu was right. I did still love the stars. They were so beautiful I could watch them all night. But that's exactly why I didn't. They meant too much to me. It would just hurt all the more. Why did you quit being a teacher? The question made me sound like a sulky child.
学校がなくなっちゃったからね。
You could have gone to another school. That's what the other teachers did. I didn't take it as hard as Hickory did today, but you still surprised me. I'd wanted Miss Miharu to stay the perfect teacher we'd always knew. Maybe it was selfish to push my own expectations onto her, but it's not like that was such a bad thing. We'd always loved and admired Miss Sayatame. It wasn't unreasonable to want to always feel that way about our favorite teacher. Miss Miharu's face took on a serious expression.
私も、続けられるならそうしたかった。でも、できなかったのよ。
Why not?
10円ハゲができてたの。
Huh? Miss Miharu went from looking serious to downright depressed.
あんたたちのキラキラした瞳にさらされてると、いつ自分の本性を見透かされるだろうって、毎日不安でビクビクしてたわ。
Oh,
モンスターペアレントは学校に怒鳴り込んでくるし、偉い人は無茶ぶりばっかしてくるし、教師がなんかやらかしたら即不祥事扱いだし。気がついたら円形脱毛症になってたの。ほら、ここらへん。
Miss Miharu lifted up her hair at the back of her head. She didn't have any bald patches, but in places her hair was shorter where it had only recently started to grow back. I didn't know what to say. I had no idea. She had a way more serious reason for quitting than I'd imagined. I had always thought it was because she hated getting up in the mornings or just didn't want to work anymore. I guess that means we were part of the reason Miss Miharu started losing her hair. We'd always been the kind of mischievous, but I never thought we'd caused our teacher this much trouble. I am really, really sorry. Miss Miharu put her hands in her pockets and stared absently out the window.
私、向いてなかったのよ。先生って仕事。これでも一応、希望を持って選んだ職業だったんだけどね。
I couldn't stand to hear her put herself down. That's not true. Forgetting that I was on the job, I raised my voice. You were a great teacher back then.
あの頃はって。おい。
We all looked up to you so much. Even Takeichi tried to behave around you. And what about Saya? She decided to go to Saisen because she wanted to be a great teacher like you.
あの子、そんなこと言ってるの？
That was the amazing thing about Saya. Even when she saw Miharu as she is now, she never gave up on her dream. That girl looked delicate, but her heart was strong.
なんかプレッシャーね。
Miss Miharu nervously fiddled with her hair. And besides, you weren't just a teacher. You taught us how fun watching the stars could be. That night when you showed us the Winter Albiero, that was what had started it all. On a freezing winter night, Miss Miharu had shown us the blue and orange double stars shining in the night sky. If she hadn't done that, we never would have given astronomy a second thought. Hickory and I probably would have gone back to being just classmates, and we might not have been made friends with Saya either. Miss Miharu just stared at me. I guess it had been a shock to hear me come out with all this. Then she gave a bittersweet smile.
でも、その教え子は星を見るのをやめちゃったわ。
Those words were like a knife in my heart. I walked up the gentle slope, a bag slung over my shoulders. There weren't any street lights out here, so I had to use a flashlight to find my way. After work, I made the decision to come back. It was only November, but the nights were getting colder. It was too cold now to wear light clothes out. I pulled the zipper of my parka up a little further against the night air and walked on. None of you watch the stars anymore, though. I stopped for a moment and looked up. Out here, the night sky completely filled my view. I stared up at the quiet autumn night sky, connecting a few constellations. Even from so far away, their light still reaches us. I mumbled to no one in particular and started walking again. After leaving the forest path, I found myself at the old station, now as quiet as a grave. Usually I'd have gone home by now. Why did I come back here without calling ahead? Knowing those two, they'll probably still be here. As I tried to convince myself, I heard the muffled sound of a conversation inside the train car. I could make out Saya's voice. She was talking to Hickory about something.
アキト君のことが時々心配になるの。
Were they talking about me? I paused outside the door and held my breath.
大丈夫でしょ。なんとかなるって。先生のお母さんにも気に入られてるんでしょ？まあ、結婚はやりすぎだと思うけど。そうじゃないの。そういうこのままだとアキト君、山の人になっちゃうんじゃないかって。
A mountain guide? Did she mean a mountaineer?
この前テレビにね、山にこもって忍者の修行をしてるおじさんが出てたの。ああ、知ってる。見た。 森の中で一人で手裏剣とか鎖鎌の練習してたおじさんだ。それを見てて思ったの。アキト君もああなっちゃうんじゃないかって。
What?
私ひげもじゃでお風呂にも入らなくなったアキト君におでん届けるのかなって。
Saya, I didn't realize you were worried about me like that.
アキト
I'm sorry for making you worry, I really am, I said apologetically. The image of Saya coming all the way out here to bring soup to a wild, shaggy mountain man had really touched me. But you don't have to worry, I don't plan on becoming a ninja. Saya nodded, still not totally convinced. Did she have that little faith in me? I guess I couldn't blame her after everything I'd done.
何しに戻ってきたの？
Hickory spoke irritably. She probably didn't enjoy my previous exit. Well, I figured you two would still be here. And I thought it would be just like you two to decide to stay here overnight without actually preparing anything. Saya and Hickory shared an uneasy glance. Looks like I was right on the mark. I dropped my mountain climbing backpack that I'd brought with me onto the floor. After work, I'd stop by the clubroom to collect it. I brought blankets and sleeping bags and extra layers, also provisions. Their eyes lit up when they saw the mountain of snacks tumble out of my bag from the convenience store.
実はお腹空いててどうしようかって話してたんだよね。
It's only going to get colder from now on. You'd really be in trouble if you stayed out here with no food and no way to keep warm. Didn't these two ever plan ahead? In that respect, they hadn't changed at all. Saya had come a long way, but she still had her blind spots. I started to get dinner ready, grumbling all the while. I set up my portable stove and poured some bottled water into a pot. What'll it be?
カップ麺きたー。私チリトマト。シーフードがいい。
I think that's an actual picture, not a drawing. We waited for the water to boil, then poured it into our noodle cups. Even sitting still for those 3 minutes was too much for the girls. They kept fidgeting and checking their watches.
3分経った。いただきます。いただきます。
They must have been pretty hungry to enjoy a simple meal so much.
こういうところで食べるカップ麺ってなんでこんなに美味しいんだろうね。わかる。すごく温まる。
Help yourself to some rice balls too. And this bag of potato chips is from Miss Miharu. Miss Miharu had managed to scrape together enough pocket change to contribute to our food for the night. The delicate young maidens before me wolfed down the feast of carbs and fats like a couple of bears getting ready to hibernate. I had to admit I was getting hungry too, and soon yielded to the temptation to join them. After we'd calmed in our raging appetites a little, I took the notebook out of my bag and showed it to the others.
何？
Maybe it was too dark to see it properly. I shined my flashlight onto the threadbare old book. Miss Miharu gave it to me.
なんで先生が？
I looked over at Saya. Her eyes were downcast. Apparently, Saya handed it in.
テープで直してある。これもサヤがやってくれたの？
Saya nodded silently.
そうだったんだ。
Hickory carefully picked up the notebook and opened it. It was full of the notes we made on the stars and planets throughout the year, along with illustrations drawn in colored pencils. Every place it was torn felt like a fresh wound in my heart. Hickory seemed to feel the same.
ごめん、サヤ。
本当にごめん。
Gomenasai, Saya. We both put our hands together and begged for forgiveness. Saya just shook her head.
光とあっくんに喧嘩してほしくなかったの。仲直りしてほしかったから。
Hickory and I shared an awkward look.
もう喧嘩なんてしてないよ。ね、アキト。
Hi, we're friends again, just good old times. We put our arms around each other and forced ourselves to smile. Saya just stared at us and giggled. Hickory was enchanted by her innocent smile.
ありがとう、さや。やっぱあんたが大好きだ。
Hickory bounded forward and hugged her old friend.
こぼれるよ。
Thanks, Saya. Saya's kindness was enough to melt the bitter feelings that burned away deep inside. Before we knew it, we were all laughing our hearts lighter now.
おいしかった。ごちそうさま。
Hickory was the first to finish. She jammed her cup to the bottom and slammed it down on the floor. I'm done too. I tossed my disposable chopsticks into the empty cup. Saya began to hurry through her meal.
慌てなくていいって。
You'll end up choking at that speed.
ごちそうさま。
あったまったね。ありがとね、アキト。
ありがとう、アキトくん。
You're welcome. A little thing like this was nothing. It's getting cold. I'll get the blankets. As the night wore on, the temperature was steadily dropping. I figured it would be best to wrap up while we were still warm. While I got things ready, Hickory went to the window. She looked out into the night deep in thought. Maybe she was wondering if she could still make it in time for the last train home.
それよりさ、お風呂入ろうよ。
What?
お風呂？
ほら、あったじゃん。小さい露天風呂。
Open air baths? Oh, that's right! Across the mountain, there was a thriving hot springs area. But a few natural springs were dotted around this side, too. There was an old man that lived up here and had one all to himself, so we'd ask him if we could use it any chance we got. That old man left years ago, though. I bet no one lives there anymore. The train line was abandoned, and driving out here would be a real hassle. And thanks to the dam, the town at the foot of the mountain was gone, too. I was pretty sure that everyone had moved away by now.
行ってみようよ。温泉は残ってるかも。
Yep, just as impulsive as always, Hickory. Admittedly, I was curious too about whether it was still there.
あった。あったよ、露天風呂。
温泉だ。
I can't believe it's still here. The open-air bath sat where it had always been, in a small clearing in the woods. The surrounding rocks from the steam radiated through the clearing and blanketed the area in the comforting warmth. We all paused to soak up the heat and warm our bodies that were still chilled from the walk.
あったかい。生き返るよ。本当だね。
I don't see any signs of it being used recently. I scooped up some water with my hand. The temperature's perfect. So how should we do this?
そりゃ入るっしょ。
I know that, but I mean, who goes first?
いいじゃん。一緒に入っちゃおうよ。昔みたいにさ。
You really haven't changed at all. Although she did look quite a bit more mature.
なーによ。あんたが恥ずかしがることじゃないでしょ。恥じらわなきゃいけないのは、裏若き乙女のあたしたちなんだから。ねえ。
All I could do was pray that she wasn't kidding about them dying of embarrassment.
それとも、私らが入ってる間、寒い森の中で一人で待ってる？言っとくけど、覗いたらそこの岩の上でパイルドライバーだからね。
That sounded like an actual death sentence. Still, I wasn't going to try to make sense of standards that said peeking was a problem, but bathing together wasn't? Saya was staring at me as if she wanted to say something. She was probably thinking that she didn't want me in there with her. That's what a rational person would think. Well, it's cold, so I guess I'll get in with you. It's dark, too, so I can't really see anything.
そうこなくっちゃ。
Now you two head over there, and I can get undressed and get in.
はーい。で、そうなるの。
No peeking, all right? You could at least say something. Geez, are you guys even serious about this whole thing? I stripped down, unconcerned, and folded my clothes and placed them on top of a dry rock. Then I dipped a toe into the streaming spring very cautiously. Oh, nice. It felt perfect. I slipped into the water slowly, letting myself adjust to the heat.
ねえ、まだ？
Yep, I'm in.
湯加減どう？
It's perfect.
だって。
It seemed like Saya wasn't all that comfortable about being in bathing with a man, but she also couldn't resist the temptation of the hot spring.
じゃあ、私らも入るから、あっち向いてて。
はい。
ちらっとでも振り返ったら。
My guess was that she would have gouged my eyes out before holding me underwater and stomping all over me.
さやが泣くわよ。
Saya met my gaze with eyes that seemed to plead for something. This was serious. She would really cry. I turned my back to them without saying a word. I sank into the water up to my shoulders as I waited, and eventually heard the fluttering sounds of clothing being removed behind me. For whatever reason, the sounds of those two undressing excited me a little bit. Knowing that I couldn't look, but could if I wanted, made the situation that much more intense. Maybe if I did look back, I could have passed it off as a joke. No, Hickory's reaction aside, Saya would really cry. Hickory wouldn't take it as a joke if Saya cried, so I was certain to end up at the bottom of that spring. I put the temptation out of my mind and kept on waiting.
今ね、私たち下着だけだよ。おっと、今さやがブラのホックを外しました。肩紐を外し、そしておお、これは。もうやめてよ、ひかり。さやのブラ可愛いね。どこのやつ？そう、お母さんが買ってきてくれたのだから。寒いから早く脱いで。ためらいなくパンティーを脱ぎ捨てた。さあやったら大胆。アキトが今にも振り返るかもしれないよ、さあや。
I could feel Saya staring a hole into the back of my head.
アキト君はそんなことしないよ。聞きましたか、アキト選手。
Of course I wouldn't. I respect the spirit of fair play.
じゃなくて、今のはアキト君になら見られたってまあいいしくらいのニュアンスだったよ。もう変なこと言わないで。
Whatever, just get in already. All this heat is going to my head.
はーい。よいしょっと。
At some point, Hickory had quickly slipped out of her panties as well, and I heard footsteps approaching. Then there was a splash of water behind me.
でも気持ちいい。
Saya let out a blissful sigh. Small ripples lapped against me as I heard those two settling into the water.
もういいよ。
Hi. I turned around slowly to find a miraculous scene unfolding before my eyes. Two girls my age bathing in the nude.
気持ちいい。
outset, Saya looked like she was on edge due to my presence.
ああ、生き返る。光、腕上げると見えちゃうよ。
Saya hurried to shield Hickory from view when she stretched out her chest almost to the left of the water. Damn, why'd she have to do that? The water was the perfect temperature, not at all lukewarm, yet not too hot. As the heat replaced the chill in her body, Saya began to relax. She was really enjoying our hot spring bath.
来てよかったね。
でしょうに。
Hickory said this eagerly, almost as if she were... I was so thoroughly relaxed by the water that I even forgot to tease her for that.
さやのお肌白くてすべすべだね。いいなあ。
光、くすぐったいよ。
ここか。ここがええのんか。
もう、やめてったら。
Hickory and Saya began playing like a couple of friendly puppies.
光だってすべすべだよ。
そうかな。
こことか。
どうした？
ちょっとびっくりしただけ。すごく柔らかいんだね。それに重かった。
ああ。
It seemed that Saya had somehow brushed up against the parts of Hickory that had matured the most.
触ってみる？
いいの？
いいよ。やらしい触り方しないならね。
しないよ、そんなこと。
Saya touched Hickory's breast beneath the waterline.
ぽよんぽよんだ。揺らすと波が立つよ。
ひひひ。どうだ？
光ばっかりずるい。
Saya muttered sulkily, her gaze falling beneath the water to her own chest. Maybe they were a bit too relaxed. Had they forgotten that I was there? Are they really that soft? Still hunched over, I cast a casual alongside glance at Hickory to observe the situation. It was too dark to be sure, but I could see something floating and even caught a faint glimpse of cleavage above the waterline. I didn't notice anything similar from Saya.
何見てんの？
Nothing really. It's dark and steamy. I can't see anything.
恥ずかしがることないよ。男の子だもんね。
She folded her arms and nodded her face, saying that as if she fully understood. Beside her, Saya covered her chest and sank into the water up to her shoulders. Are you sure you're not one incapable of shame? That conversation you just had was pretty bad.
あるよ、失礼な。でも、アキトとこうやってお風呂入るの初めてじゃないし。
But we were kids back then. It was more than 4 years ago. It would have been a fairly major problem in a girl her age in the sense that shame hadn't developed at all since then. And actually, I had been pretty embarrassed by the whole thing at the time. I remembered how Hickory had pushed us into getting it together. And I remembered how I had seen Saya nude and how she had cried. Hickory approached me, the expression on her face saying she had something on her mind.
ね。
Yes? It definitely sent a jolt through me as she pressed up against her in the usual way, only naked.
こないだ送った写真あったじゃん。谷間のやつ。
Cleavage, I knew which picture she meant. Hi?
あれ、あたしんじゃないからね。
Huh? I forgot all my caution and grunted out a partial question in my confusion.
うちのお父さんのだよ。
Your dad's? I thought about Hickory's father. He was a big man and had a beard. A fair-skinned, chubby guy who wouldn't seem out of place standing alongside Santa Claus. You mean your dad, like the one that I know?
お風呂上がりにパンツ一丁で歩いてるから、罰として脱中のポーズ取ってもらったの。そうしたらあれよ、見事な谷間なもんだから記念に撮っといたのよ。ああ、騙されちゃってた。
Fool me, this is way worse. You traveled all over my adolescent boy's innocent infections.
ごめん、冗談のつもりだったのよ。笑わせようと思って送ったら、あんな素直な反応来ちゃって、本当のこと言いそびれちゃったの。
You little. I clenched a fist under the water and my body shook with anger.
もしかして、あの写真見ながら、一人でエッチなこととかしちゃった。
What?
するんでしょ、男子って。
Hickory said it with an oh crap expression on her face. I did not.
よかった。してたらどうしようって思ってたよ。
I didn't. I hadn't, but I was glad that I hadn't from the bottom of my heart, but the truth was I really had been excited every time I looked at it. She really was a she-devil.
何の話？光のお父さんがどうかしたの？ね。
This is between us. Forget about it. Hickory returned to Saya's side and whispered to her.
後で教えてあげるね。
Don't tell her no matter what. Saya cocked her head to the side cutely, then stared at Hickory and me.
何よ、二人だけ。
ほら、さやが拗ねちゃったじゃん。
This is your fault.
まあ、平たく言うと、アキトが私のおっぱいを見たがってたって話。
Hold on, it's not like that. Don't look at me like that. I wondered if there was anything nearby that could gag Hickory with to shut her up for a while without hurting her. I give up, say whatever you want. I turned my back on the two of them and fell silent. If I handled it wrong, the two of them would have teased me even more. Hickory kept her gaze fixed on my back, observing me.
ねえねえ、ちょっと聞いてもいい？
What is it?
もしかして今、勃起してたりする？
What?
ねえ、さや知ってる？男子ってエッチなこと考えて興奮すると勃起するんだって。そうなんだ。男の子の部分あるじゃない？あるじゃないって言われても、あれが大きくなるんだって。すごいよね。人体の神秘だよね。そうだね、神秘だね。っていうか何言ってるの光、バカなの？見てみたいなぁなんてチラッ。
She was insane. She was genuinely insane. It was like she hadn't grown up at all since we were kids. You know I'm not showing it.
おやおやってことは、勃起してるのは認めるんだな、このスケベ。
Saya turned away, her face communicating that she wanted nothing to do with this.
どうなんだね、アキトくん。
Hickory closed in, pressing against me. She seemed like she hadn't noticed, but the top of her breast had come out of the water to say hello. It was a delicate situation. I'll admit it, I am, but there's no way to avoid it in this situation. I might have been able to keep control of things if we had been taking a dip in the hot spring together. But there was no way any healthy adolescent boy could have held back with the kind of revealing conversation going on before his eyes.
見せる。
No.
なんで？いいじゃん、減るもんじゃなし。
I will too. This is an extinction event for my dignity as a human being. What was she even asking for?
幼馴染なんだし、恥ずかしがることないって。ねえ、さや。
知らない。
Then you show me too.
はい？バカ言っちゃいけないよ。女の子にそんな見せろだなんて。
There's no difference between men and women when it comes to embarrassment.
私はアキトの勃起が見たいのであって、別にやらしい気持ちがあるわけじゃないのに。
She probably didn't really know what it meant, but hearing a girl say worked up over and over like that, if I were her dad, I would have been weeping.
ねえ、さやは見たくない？
Saya jerked where she sat in the water. She probably hadn't imagined that the conversation would come to this.
痛いでしょ？だって大きくなるんだよ。こんなこと頼めるの飽きとくらいだし。でね、
Hickory whispered something in Saya's ear. On hearing Hickory's comment, Saya cried out. She turned bright red and her eyes opened wide. She continued looking at me for a while, then averted her eyes downward and seemed to gradually wilt on the spot. What on earth did you say?
交換条件として私とさやのおっぱいを見せてあげるってのはどうかと。
This was an unexpected development. My face began to smile reflexively, but I fought off the impulse.
2対1だし、それなら条件として釣り合うじゃない？
I had no idea how that was a good trade, but it did feel like one emotionally. Well, then we'd all be embarrassed that way. No matter what I answered, Saya was going to refuse anyway. There was no way Saya would accept such crazy terms. She was the one in charge of having common sense in the Mikusuki Astronomy Club.
ほらさや、見たいって。さやのちっぱい。見たいの？
Saya asked, looking at me through her eyelashes as she faced the water. What, you have to ask? Well, you know, if I said I didn't, I'd be lying. Saya hung her head even further until the neck was bent at an almost 90-degree angle. Her face was in the water. Was she all right? Hickory, don't try to make Saya do anything stupid. She's not like you. She has common sense.
そうか。ごめんよさや。秋田の勃起見るのはまた別の機会にするよ。いいよ。え？秋人くんが見たいんだったらちょっとくらいなら。
Saya, you haven't lost your mind, have you? And she's looked up from the water. Saya's eyes burned with striking resolve. Her expression was deadly serious.
商談成立。じゃあ行くよさや。せーの。
Hold on, I didn't say I was in. The two rose to their knees in the water, then moved their hands aside. Well, peering through the thin veil of vapor over the hot spring, my eyes beheld them actual breasts. Hickory drew my eyes first. They were massive. They swayed and bobbed, still shaking from the motion of her lifting herself out of the water. Although it's a bit of a tired expression, their weighty movements reminded me of fresh pudding. They were full of round breasts, but they still gave off a sense of firmness. But I couldn't see anything I wanted. The steam billowing up from the water was too thick, and it hid the full view from me. Even so, I could see enough to know that those were real breasts, and they were magnificent. On the other hand, Saya's were small, or rather modest in size. Unlike Hickory's, they barely shook when she rose, but they were still incredible. Clear droplets of water traced seductive paths down her gentle curves over her pale translucent skin. She had beautiful, ever so slightly youthful flat chest instead of full breasts. And even that youthful swell of a chest was faintly seductive, and actually made me see her as a woman even more. It was a pity that I still couldn't see everything through the thick steam. These cute breasts were perfectly suited to Saya, a beautiful and adorably embarrassed young woman.
どうよ。
Those are some amazing boobs. I had never thought of seeing breasts I never had thought of seeing breasts as a goal in life, but in that instant, I felt that I could die without regrets. If only it would clear just a little bit, I could get a good long look at the breast, and my life would be complete. Come on, can't I get a little bit of wind here or to clear my view?
はい、おしまい。
They sank down down into the water up to their shoulders at Hickory's heartless declaration, hiding those stunning breasts.
恥ずかしかった。もう死んじゃいそうだよ。
So Hickory was embarrassed too, after all. But even as that thought passed through my mind, their embarrassment at showing me the breasts left me even more excited than before. Oh no, there's only one last thing to do, Lau. I've been hoping that I'd get things back to normal downstairs and dodge the issue by giving them a peek when I wasn't excited. But that state of things at that point was more ferocious than I had experienced in my brief lifetime.
さあ、次はアキトの番だよ。
I understood Hickory, but why did Saya have a look of anticipation in her eyes? I guess the girls were really curious about these things in their own way. All right. I answered graciously, then took a deep breath. Under the circumstances, I had to show them. But these were friends I had done all kinds of stupid things with since we were little kids. At that point, was there any way of something so minor could embarrass me? Here goes. Filled with desperation, I launched myself to my feet. Drops of hot spring water splashed and dipped from my more rigid part. Vapor from the spring filled the air for a moment, blocking the view. But that only lasted for a few seconds. The vapor cleared quickly, and the rigid, towering figure emerged from the fog. An ear-splitting shriek echoed through the moonlit forest. I cowered down in the spring, covering my ears.
見た。何なの？あれ。
Saya curled up in a ball like a small animal and shook her head weakly. Hey, if you're going to scream, then don't ask to see it. No, I'll be scared for life. Scarred for life.
だってそんなになってるなんて思わないんだもん。今の本物？アキトの股間にロケットがついてたよ。怖かった。
Seriously, these two. Embarrassed, I sank into the water up to my nose.
子供の頃はあんなに可愛かったアキトのウインナーが。ねえ、覚えてるでしょ、さやも。昔はこんなちっちゃかったよね。でもさっきのはこんぐらいあったよね。
Stop showing the size of your hands. It's way too graphic. Really, I just wanted them to lay off already. I decided that seeing me all worked up hadn't been a great trade after all, even if it wasn't to see both girls' breasts.
すごいもの見ちゃったね。見ちゃった。
I had lost all of my dignity as a human being in exchange for boobs. Okay, that seems like a really, really good place to end video 3. It's a quite humorous little spot, and it is about as graphic as this particular game gets. Happily. But it was still a fun scene. I find a lot of humor in it, and I hope you did too. So...